Call the City of Richmond meeting to order. If everybody please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. First item up for this evening is the approval of the agenda. There is 2 items added to the agenda. Item 5F and item 6B, which is on your dais. Is there any other additions or corrections?
Item 7A being removed.
Yes, sorry. Item 7A to be removed. And item 7D will be also removed. There will be no report.
Where was that?
The Tri-City cable.
7D,
Okay.
Tri-City.
Thank you.
No report there either. Seeing no others,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of meeting minutes from July 1, 2015. Is there any questions, comments?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 4, approval of bills to be paid. Is there any questions on the bills? Have anybody seen? Or questions on them?
Check number 017049, Midwest Dust Control. The names that you have down here is the alleys, and then you have 2 individual names there. Are they actually streets?
I don't think so.
It's probably behind people's houses, I imagine.
But then,
The one,
right, but then the other.
That's what,
Norman
those
and
are the
Meyer.
names are on the invoice, so I didn't.
So I was just wondering, are we going to be doing other streets that are to be equal?
No.
One
the
thing just to look into.
third one is the one by the arena. Is that
Straight ahead.
straight in from the arena, that little section?
Okay, that would be a
And the-
street.
And then the other one is that the only street that's down in the corner there that's not tarred, down by right before Casey's.
Casey's, that's
Is
right
that
there to the
that's
right.
that other street that they?
But is that a street or is that an alley? I believe
away.
that's an alley,
It's a right
or
of way.
right of way. So are we looking at doing right of ways? It's going to be a question and probably a
Policy is
discussion.
we only do those where there is commercial service.
So
It's a good question.
it's the only question I have. Otherwise, I'll make a motion to accept the bills for this month.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Consent agenda for this evening, resolution 148-15 is approval of the July 2015 journal entries. Item B is resolution 149-15, acceptance of July 2015 donations, which is the American Legion donated the money for the music in the park for one of the bands out there. Item C is acknowledge of People Services July 2015 written report. Item D, acknowledge of 2014 TIF report and management letter from Jerry Murray of David Drown Associates Incorporated. Item E is approval of corrected minutes for April 16, 2015, withdrawing a line through the resolution 129-15 under item 4. That resolution was used someplace else for a different resolution, so it had to be striked out of the. I believe that was you actually just took it from a resolution to be amended.
Right.
Okay. Any questions on that?
Yeah, and this one.
Do you need that?
Item 5F.
Yep, I'm getting there. I was just
Okay.
making sure if somebody had a question on that one in particular. Item F, resolution 151-15, temporary 1 to 4 day liquor license for Richmond Fire Relief Association, Oktoberfest, September 12th, 2015 at St. Peter and Paul School.
Clarification, is that the only place that are going to have liquor?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent, or to approve the consent agenda.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 6 will be the police department. Chief Chris Boucher.
Hi guys.
Nope.
Last Thursday, Friday, I gave Marty what I was going to pass out. I just added a little bit. So if you look at the new edition, the bottom below my name is the stuff I added since then, if that makes sense. Okay. So number one is just speaking of the month of May, there was 97 calls for service in the city of Richmond. We'll just go through them here quick like we typically do. 6 medicals, 5 suspicious either people, vehicles, items, things like that. 50 traffic stops, 40 of those were warnings, 31 citations during those 50. They included 3 drug paraphernalia citations, just tools, pipes, things like that. 36 miscellaneous calls for police services. One of the police calls included was a 5th degree assault. That just means 2 people fighting, possibly one or both of them went to jail. That's that. Last year there was 82 calls during this time frame, so obviously it's up a little bit compared to last year. If you don't mind, let's go to the one right below my name. If we could just kind of keep those months kind of together, if you guys don't mind. If that works with you. The month of June we were down to 66, and if you look at May where it says 97, the majority of the difference would be like traffic stops. Can you see that? The difference of 26 in the month of June and 50 in the month of May. A lot of that has to do with, like I told you before, like TZD, safe and sober. The officers worked, the month of May there were some hours that they'd worked, and the month of June there were no hours, so if that makes sense. So there's more guys working the street looking mainly, directing their attention to traffic, and female officers. So there's 66 calls in June, 7 medicals, which is about the average has been, 3 suspicious vehicles and people reports, 26 traffic stops. In those 26, there were 17 warnings, 10 citations, 30 miscellaneous calls for service, and if you look at right above that where it says in May, there's 36, so it's pretty much one a day. So that's pretty typical. One of the calls that was reported in the city of Richmond, there was a fraud case, and then another reason why the numbers were lower than generally, there was 3 officers that were involved in a crim sex case that went on for like 2 weeks in June, which doesn't help. So there was a bunch of hours that officers had to deal with that. Let's see. Yeah, and then I just talked briefly about that traffic stops already. So that is that. If we can go back up to number 2, Mayor Hemish and City Administrator Bodie assisted with interviewing the part-time officers that we have working for the City of Cold Spring. And we promoted Officer Anita. That would be the female officer. You guys might have seen her. She was here last night for the National Night Out. She's been with the City of Cold Spring, Richmond, going on 2 years, I think, right, Marty? I think so. Because we interviewed 2 people, and the one had 1 year, the other person had 2, and they were very similar in styles. It's just that seniority and like military police departments are very similar to that. If you have 2 equal people, generally the senior person gets it. So that's more or less how that went down. So she's full-time currently at this time. I attended several things for River Lake Days, one being the car show. We had the Tahoe there. We had the bike that we use for the trails. We had that there. The Trans Am was there, the dare car. Kids were allowed to go in there and so forth. Got coloring books, stickers, those kinds of things. It seemed like it was a little quieter than last year. I don't know why, but there's still lots of people that showed up. Yeah, a few less cars, I should say. The number of people, seemed about the same, if not more. And if you also see where it says see attached log, I'm pretty sure I did the same thing last year. I had the officers keep tallies of what things occurred during the weekend, that Friday and Saturday night. Kind of broke it down where things that occurred either in the event or around the event is in one spot, and then things that occurred just simply in the city of Richmond, kind of a breakdown. To say that I'm surprised with any of these, no. The one kind of thing that was scary, because I have a couple daughters of my own, is that we found a female passed out on somebody's porch. We ended up waking her up, and she had some warrants for her ass, so she went to jail. So, pretty simple. Otherwise, nothing out of that. It went extremely well, like usual. So, do we have any questions on any of those? I mean, they are pretty straight up, so that's kind of that. Just to give you an idea, we did have the City of Cold Spring had their event the week after. As you can see, you guys are a full page in 2 days. The event that we had in Cold Spring is one whole page just for the event. So that gives you an idea. There was like 40 main things that we wrote down for the event in Cold Spring. So not that we arrested much more than that, but we dealt with a lot more people that were kicked out. But if you think there was, let's just say 8,500 people at the event, we kicked out between 20 to 25. So even that number was very manageable. It wasn't bad.
You didn't have to ask anybody at River Lake Days to leave, did you?
I think we did escort a couple people out. I thought there was like a number 14 was just like an intoxicated female. We ended up finding a sober person to take her home. But like I said, that's when you have heat and you have this many people. It's to say that you're dealing with intoxicated people. That's nothing. I would have no problem escorting somebody out like that. And it's not just that. Let's say we, like that individual there, to say that we ask the person to leave. I mean, it is a family event, and if we have someone that's passed out, sleeping, stumbling, it's to the point where they shouldn't be consuming any more alcohol. I would hope, as a city event with kids, I know I don't want my kids seeing that, you know what I'm saying? So, and normally when you find the sober party to take them home, you know what they're saying? Let's get out of here. It's not like, I'm going to watch you here. No, we're taking them home. So to say that we even asked that person to leave, the odds of that, probably not, but it's embarrassing. So to say that, that we forcefully left them, no, we didn't do that. It's more or less, what do you want to do? Let's get them to the car. That type of deal. So, but the ones at Firefest, that's completely different. If they're, to the point, there's only so many of us, yeah, if it's not like you get one warning, you're out of there. That's just how it works. Number 4, like I said before, at the car show, I had the bike that was there. It's got the graphics, it's got the bags on it. The guys are starting to ride it, not as much as I would like since we have it, but there again, we're going to use it, and we're going to use it obviously to bike around at night. If we have issues with car break-ins, so forth, a bike is so much smoother. You don't hear it. They don't expect you to be on a bike. They can see a headlights, from blocks away versus a bike in the dark. It's a lot easier. You hear much more when you're doing that. So we do have that. Again, the Cold Spring Lions donated everything on that project, which is really neat. This other one is they had a bike run, and I believe it started in the city of Rockville, or at least went through Rockville. They donated $200. It's for the Bob Willard Memorial Ride that occurred. They gave they actually gave the money to the country store in Cold Spring where we get our dog food for the 2 police dogs, and we're currently using that money to buy dog food. So that's really neat. So that's how they got the kudos on that. And then let's briefly talk about National Night Out. That was last night. It was another night like tonight. Gorgeous night. If you don't mind, I'm just going to read the sponsors. What the sponsors have done is they either donated items for the event, like water, cookies, food, hot dogs, or they gave a $1 donation to buy the ketchup, mustard, napkins, so forth, if that makes sense. So here, I'm just going to read them off. They're on that list. Casey's General Store. Joan has been awesome. It's not just for this event. Cases is one of those places where if we need a banner made, they're always the top person we ask because they're always on the spot, which is very cool. So Casey's General Store, Styles Insurance, obviously everybody knows where that is, right on Main Street. Heinen's Insurance Agency, that is the same side as Winter's Hardware, right there. Reland Locker, that would be across from Plantberg's. Plantberg's Food Pride, that's the grocery store we have in town. The Richmond Civic and Commerce, obviously we know who that is. And then the City of Richmond. And then I also like to thank, and they're not on there, I failed to put that, I don't know why I didn't, but the Richmond Fire Department actually helped out a lot. They had, I didn't make it to the one on the east side, but I did make it to the west side, and I was very shocked. There's probably 7 or 8 firemen helping out, serve food and tables and all that stuff, which is awesome. And you guys can be very proud because this is the first year that Richmond and Cold Spring ever have had this. And Richmond beat Cold Spring by at least 50 people. So I know how we like to compete with numbers and all those things. I can say the one in the west, it was amazing. I mean, I know they had numbers of people there, but it sounded like the west was definitely, we're talking 100 and some people. Not maybe at one time, but coming and going. It went really well, to be honest with you. I'm guessing 250 people, you know what I mean? I told the officers to kind of keep track of number of people leaving and how difficult that can be. But yeah, it was without a doubt way bigger than the Cold Spring, the event. So that's neat. The people that were there said they really enjoyed it, that even people that were there that didn't have anything to do to set up were saying, I would like to help next year, which is cool. So hopefully there can be a lot less pressure on donors, which I'm trying to get away from, because all these places that have donated here, they're always being asked to donate something. So it'd be nice if, if we can kind of get it through the neighborhood where I'm supplying the hot dogs, this neighbor's supplying, desserts, things like that. So, any other questions? Okay.
No, thank you and your officers for everything at River Lake Days.
Yeah, like I say, it's one of those events they do really well. It's amazing the time and effort that is put into even getting the event going, which is amazing. Which is nice to see, because I have other cities that we get together and we talk, about certain nightmares that they deal with and all this and all that. And to be honest with you, that list, any one of those things is very minor. There's nothing again going on. So, all right. And I'd like to stay for the rest of the meeting, but I've got surprisingly enough, another meeting here in 5 minutes in Cold Spring. So that's why I was glad to get in here and get it to you guys right away.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, guys. Enjoy your night.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 6B, application for street closure for street dance September 12, 2015 from 7 p.m. till 12:30 a.m. Sponsored by Corky's Bar, Happy's Bar, Jerry's Firehouse Grill, Richmond Civic and Commerce, and the Richmond Fire Relief Association.
I don't have any problem with this. That number 5, is that going to be accommodated or not?
5F?
No, 5 on the permit. On the permit application says number 5, that no stands, building, tents, or other encroachments be permitted within the right of way.
To my knowledge, that won't happen in the county right away.
I'm just saying, if they put up a band or something, how are they going to do that
Band is
without?
going to be on call alongside 24/7.
Okay. Then it's not going to be on the county, so very good.
And the Legion, I believe, may have a food tent, and that won't be on the county highway either.
Just so we
Okay.
comply with the permit.
Any other questions? Motion for that?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We'll move on to council reports for this evening. First one up will be the Planning Commission. Josh and Tim.
We had our meeting June 25th. Or did we have the 18th?
July. We did one July 23rd.
Okay. Yeah, July 17th. 24th.
17th for Lake Days.
Yeah, sorry.
It was in July.
23rd.
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 It was a long month.
You're fine.
Short meeting, just further discuss the annexation issue. Nothing overly new to report on that. Any questions?
Are we going to see a first draft of this suggested annexation soon, or what?
It's in your packet, right?
Workshop.
I put a copy of
In a workshop? Okay.
Workshop.
I put a copy of the planning commission minutes in your packet, so
And that'll be
you can
discussed
see
during
what
the
they talked
workshop.
about.
Okay.
Anything else for Planning Commission?
That
Our,
was
our next meeting will be,
all.
I can do August 27th
7th, correct.
at 6.
6 p.m. All right. Any question for them? Then we'll move on to Parks and Trails. Tim?
Tomorrow morning, we're having a meeting with all the cities tomorrow at 9 o'clock, Rockville. We didn't have one for the month of July. Nothing was pressing, but we do have quite a bit tomorrow morning, so I'll have something to report on in the August meeting, so. That's all I have.
All right. Any questions for Tim? All right, we'll move on to the 125th city anniversary.
Okay, basically the Quincentennial went very well. The activities, the first 3 were just hit out of the ballpark with the Pie in the Park, the History Night. They anticipated serving approximately a little bit over 200, and I believe they did over 335 or 350. Well attended. Compliments from the Stearns County Historical Society. Couldn't believe the interest that was about history in Richmond. The bridal, I'm going to call it antique bridal show was very well liked by everybody that was there. Beautiful evening. The Thursday night draft horse. In fact, I just had a compliment in one of the malls in St. Cloud this week. Somebody took me off to the side and just said, couldn't believe how great it was. Low-key, very understanding on what was going on. The demonstration was perfect for that size. We guesstimate on all the activities, there was about 300 people at all of them. And some were a little bit over, some were a little bit under, so that was a fantastic turnout. Friday and Saturday of River Lake Days, which was in conjunction with this, went well. Some individuals think it was a smaller crowd. I haven't seen all the receipts, but they're pretty much average. Nothing over, but nothing under either. You know, nothing substantially under, I should say. A stand, like Josh and I were talking before, a stand could be $35 or $50 one way or the other, but that's peanuts compared to that could be when you opened up and when you shut down. Or we had a cool night on Saturday night. We got chased away a little bit, about 2 hours early on Friday night. We did that for safety reasons. We shut the whole place down, so very well. I think all in all, you can definitely call it a success. And with you folks planning it 25 years from now, we'll see how it goes. So. And you'll be seeing some of the bills come, which you have already, the different items that the city sponsored. So.
It was also nice to see that up at the lake, the show by the WCCO put on.
Yeah.
Kind of a neat little tribute to this area. Which was
That
kind
was
of
nice.
There is other things other than just in the city of Richmond. There is boating, pontooning, whatever, golf. So it's nice to see a little good advertisement for the area. Otherwise, Pat, I thought you guys did a good job. So,
Yeah, again, like always.
anybody else have any other questions or comments for Pat? For River Lake Days or
I was just reading his police report. And it was kind of interesting. He's got it down that there was 4 bank runs, so they must have turned out okay. So.
All right, thanks, Pat. Moving on, the request for action tonight, purchase requisition allocations and transfers.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have anything for the council to act on. However, I will inform you that I did approve of repairing the Kubota. It needs the engine overhauled. I know that machine is, Pat, that's in your former life, isn't it? Over 20
That
years
dates
old?
back to the early 90s, yes, or actually late 80s, early 90s. If that piece of equipment is still working today, says something for that piece of, that, you know, it withstand.
It's the only equipment that we have that has a 3-point hitch that operates our 3-point hitch more. It's Fran Ramler at River Power in Cold Spring going to repairing it. He's got an estimate of $3,100. We did talk to our local, help me with the name right now, Ron Bierman.
Good.
And he does not repair diesel engines.
Oh, it's
Anything outdoors?
Thank you.
That Kubota makes good quality stuff, so it's well worth the repairs.
Is that a mower or a tractor?
Excuse
What
me.
is it?
Tractor
New
with
Adventures, right.
where you put a lot of different attachments on it.
Oh, got it.
It's
Okay.
that big
All right.
orange thing.
That big one.
Yeah, and all the attachments are on that side
Got
wall.
it, okay.
And the fence down there at the
Alright.
maintenance middle.
So that bill we'll actually see next month.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we'll move on, ordinance 2015-102 Richmond compost site. Do you want to just reiterate?
Mr. Mayor and Council, we have a fee schedule that outlines different fines and fees for different violations. And so the council gave direction that they wanted the compost fine to be a certified fine at the county level. And so to do that, we have to have an ordinance, and we don't. And so this is just putting the ordinance.
Getting the ordinance started so we can do the fines on.
Yeah.
And may I make a comment, we've continued to keep people have been putting plastic bags in our dumpsters, folks. We can't have that. They can't when they take them to the dump, they can't grind them up, and then screws up their machines, plugs up their machines, and then it's a possibility they could just say no more. So please, folks, if there's an area they can just dump it.
Just a question, do we have a place for bags out there?
Yes, he's got a garbage container.
There's a garbage container that's labeled. I'm just asking.
I thought there was,
There used to be one on the right, I don't know if it might be moved.
but they could take it with them too.
I mean, but it says, there's a sign, that says, empty your bags, take your bags with you as well. There is a sign there though.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a big sign.
We'd like to have a motion.
I'll make that
So is this
motion.
a final, has this been advertised as an ordinance already and everything?
It's not required. What is required is the next action, what goes in the paper.
Okay. So this is,
The action before the action.
This is the action approving the ordinance. The next action is allowing a summary publication of the ordinance.
And how much is the fine? $100?
$100.
Well, yeah. I made that motion.
Yeah. I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Move on to resolution, item C, resolution 150-15, summary publication of ordinance 2015-102, which puts this item in the paper. You also want a motion for that, or not?
Yes.
I'll make that motion again.
I'll second it then.
Any discussion? All in favor?
alright.
Opposed? Carried. Other matters of concern, item A, the Gatsby 67 Fire Relief Pension Evaluation Report. This is something that the council approved paying for, and it came back favorable that the accounting that's been done so far has been correct and up to standard, so this will go on our audit report for the end of the year. It's one of the requirements for 2015's audit, correct?
That's true.
Some of the costs can be shared by the Relief Association, do we know?
As of right now, no. But this is the first time the reports came back, so it'll get brought up next week at their meeting.
Okay.
Is there any other matters of concern this evening?
Yes, I have one. Driving around town, apparently there was a complaint on weeds at 557 2nd Street Northwest. And looking at those weeds versus weeds in our drainage ditches and everything else, there's no difference. So either before we crack down on individuals having weeds or long grass, I think that we should definitely have our drainage areas, drainage ditches
Those
cut to an
retention
area, retention ponds cut no longer than normal length and there shouldn't be any litter or rocks in there. That should be all cleaned out. Before I came to the meeting this evening, I took a look at the one over at the pavilion, and it definitely was just as long as on the other address as asked. So I believe that we should definitely take our in-house before we try to go any further.
This has been something we're working on, and now with the Kubota down, we don't have a machine to get in there.
Well,
we don't have-
sometimes I think, do we have a hand? I mean, that one there, I don't know why you would have to do it with a rider. You could do it with a push mower, because it's not that long. It's not that big.
The pavilion one?
Right. And that's the one that's supposed to be seen by everybody, because we're, what? Throwing out information on our trail. That should be cut down just normal grass length.
I'll look at it, but I know that we use the Kubota for all three of them.
Second thing again, weeds that are coming up from in between the curb and the tar throughout the community, I think either have to be sprayed or trimmed down. I don't know if that is the landowner's responsibility. It probably should definitely be trimmed down to, or even sprayed earlier in the spring, and then they won't be there. But if you take a look at through that crack in between the curb and the tar, there's definitely grass, weeds, and everything else growing, and it should be definitely sprayed.
Yep. Direction was given to manage weeds on the streets and curbs.
Okay. That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to add? We'll add one more, August 13th at City Hall. Minnesota DOT is having a meeting here from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. to talk about Highway 23. Just for anybody that's interested to find out what's going on. I don't know what the agenda is other than they're talking about Highway 23.
Is this an open house or is this an actual meeting that you know of?
It just stated in the email that it was an open meeting from the DOT and the meeting here at City Hall from 2 p.m. They'll probably be done by 3:30, 4 o'clock, but that's the time they gave. So I just want people to know, if you want to come and see what they're talking about, that's when it is. So, anybody else have anything else to add?
Nobody hit that one in, outside of Painesville, what was that, Hawick? Nobody went to that meeting, did they?
You went to the Wilmer one, right? Did you go to Wilmer?
I actually went down further to Morton. That was last year.
Okay, but there was one just the other day too.
Grass
Painesville,
Falls.
okay.
I went down to Morton when they had the one down there. That's where they had it for the whole corridor from, actually from Richmond to, say, all the way down, so. If there's nothing else, we will temporarily recess for our workshop, so.
Take a break first.